Vladimir Putin set to visit North Korea tomorrow and meet there with Kim Jong-un. It'll be the Russian president's first visit in 24 years. Comes amid growing concerns about a potential military deal between the two countries. Meantime, 90 countries, including the United States, attended a Ukraine peace summit in Switzerland over the weekend. It was billed as a first step towards ending the war. Russia was not invited. Joining us now, William Taylor, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, now vice president for Europe and Russia at the U.S. Institute for Peace. All right, Ambassador Taylor, welcome back. We'll get to that peace summit in a moment. Any thoughts on Putin and Kim Jong-un getting together and what threat that poses?
So, Connell, here are two pariah leaders. Of course, Putin is an indicted war criminal by the International Criminal Court, and we know about the North Korean leader, Kim, pariah state, sanctioned by the world, including the Security Council. So those getting together is not a surprise. They've met before recently, as he hadn't been there, Putin hadn't been there in a long time, but they've met. And there's no doubt that North Korea is providing Russia with ammunition, artillery ammunition, and Russia needs that. They don't have the ability to manufacture that themselves, so they're going to North Korea to try to get those supplies.
Now, in this peace summit, I'm wondering your point of view if anything came out of it or if it was just sort of a waste of time. I would play a clip from the vice president talking about what's in America's best interest, and then we'll talk about it. Here she is.
President Biden, my support for the people of Ukraine is unwavering. We support Ukraine not out of charity, but because the people of Ukraine and their future is in our strategic interest. It is in our interest to uphold international rules and norms, such as sovereignty and territorial integrity.
From what I read, not much of substance came out of it, but again, maybe I was missing something and there's a longer-term goal here. And what about it?
There is a longer-term goal. No, you're right, Connell. What the Ukrainians want to do, indeed, the Swiss have been very helpful in convening, is want to start the process. They would like to begin the process of thinking about what a world with a just and lasting peace would look like. And so they looked at some things that they thought could probably get agreement from those 80 or 90 nations that were there. 80 of them signed the communique saying that nuclear safety was important to them, the return of captured, abducted children is important to them, that food security is important. So they started the process of thinking about what a just and lasting peace would look like after this war.
Now, of course, Russia, as we said, wasn't invited, but Russia's saying, and through Putin, that, you could have the end of the war now if you kind of gave up the territory Russia's already taken over. Headline from the AP is that Putin offers truce if Ukraine exits the Russian-claimed areas and drops its NATO bid. Of course, Kyiv has rejected that. He also blasted the Switzerland conference that we were talking about. If we switch over to the tablet for a moment, we've talked about this before, but Ambassador Taylor, this is the area, right, that we're referring to that's shaded in red. So all of this here is Russian-controlled territories or advances in Ukraine. Does it ever come to a time when Zelensky and Ukraine are open to having a conversation, or that's always off the table?
So far, Connell, it's off the table. So far, that area that you're showing right there is not just 20% of the Ukrainian territory. It's 20% of the Ukrainian people. And the Ukrainians know, Zelensky knows, but all Ukrainians know what happens to Ukrainians when they live under Russian occupation. They see the torture, the atrocities, they see the rapes, they see the mutilation, they see the capture of children. The Ukrainians are not willing to cede those people to the Russians. They're not willing to do that. So no, until the Russians leave, that's the demand on the Ukrainian side. Just get the Russians out of their country. The Russian proposal, Putin's proposal, is essentially for unconditional surrender, and the Ukrainians are not going to do that.
Right, that won't happen. Ambassador Bill Taylor, we thank you as always. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.